I am somebody, and I won't be stopped by nobody. I got my fists in the air and the movement of my feet. I got love for my people, but it starts with me. And I am somebody, and I won't be stopped by nobody. I got my fists in the air and the movement of my feet. I got love for my people, but it starts with me.
All right, Kalilah Moon, take one.
Growing up as a child, it was clear that we didn't have all the money in the world. My mom was forced to drop out of college after having her third child, the first two being twins, and I was one of them. She moved back to California from Oklahoma. She attended a small black college there called Langston. I did as well. And when she moved back home, our family and friends quickly jumped in to help take care of my sisters and I remember at an early age, my grandmother's best friend and our neighbors down the street making sure that we had the things that we needed. My mom married my stepfather when we were 9 years old, and even in a two-parent household, we struggled often. There was a time where our whole family had to go live with our grandparents until my parents could afford an apartment that they could rent. So along the way, my mother and grandmother ensured that we had the necessary things needed in order to survive and thrive as three little black girls growing up in Oakland, California. So our summers were filled with vacation Bible school, programs from organizations like Girls Inc., trips to the library, and even the nearby swimming pool. We also were even involved with local grassroots nonprofits similar to Drive Change. The chant that I recited earlier today, I learned when I was 16 years old. It was these organizations that helped me build the confidence that I have today and helped me to become the woman that I am today. Now, growing up 10 years apart, my cousin Mario was the little brother that my sisters and I never had. He was also the first boy grandchild. My grandmother learned early on that his parents were active users and that they all were living in a crack house. So that's when he came to stay with us. Recognizing that the odds were against Mario, my grandmother enrolled him into our church's charter school. Mario was the cutest, most annoying 5-year-old. He would want to compete with you to see if you knew all the books of the Bible, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Proverbs, Psalms, and it's unfortunate I lost to this 5-year-old every time. But as Mario grew, my grandmother thought it was best that he go stay with his mother that's now in North Carolina, far away from his community in California. She didn't know this at the time. She didn't recognize the impact that it would have on Mario, but she would later say this was the worst decision that she could possibly ever make. See, though he was going to live with his mom in North Carolina and be connected with siblings that he had never met, he was being uprooted from his community, being uprooted from the people that was willing to invest in him and give him the love and support that he needed in order to survive and thrive. Mario was forced to grow up faster than any child should. We were two children from the same family. One of us had our village and the other one didn't. I had my community, my mentors, the folks that invested in me. Mario didn't have that. I stand before you here today. Mario's in jail. Hi, my name is Kalilah Moon, and I'm the executive director of Drive Change. I am honored to lead an organization that puts youth at its center and believes that everyone deserves the right to reach their full potential, and in doing so will have a direct impact on their families and the people in their communities. We work with young people 18 and 25 who've been impacted by the justice system. We provide them the skills needed in order to be successful within the food and hospitality space. We provide basic culinary skills along with skills that allow them to grow and become leaders within their community. Now, if you were to ask some of our fellows, who is your support system? Most would say, me. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine having no one else to rely on but yourself? I know. At Drive Change, we step in to fill that gap. I'd like to talk to you about two people. There's Brandon, and then there's Hallie. Brandon's initial interest stemmed from his passion for cooking that he received from watching his father. But like most of our young people, Brandon wanted something more from himself. Brandon wanted to change his life around. So when he learned about Drive Change through his work release program, it felt like a great fit. So for those of you all who don't know, a work release program is for individuals who are incarcerated. They are allowed to work from home during the week and must return to the jail on the days that they're not working. Brandon was enrolled in Drive Change, and once he completed, he was placed with one of our partners, Cafe Pana. Now there's Hallie. Hallie is the owner of an Italian-inspired ice cream and coffee shop in the fancy neighborhood of Gramercy Park in Manhattan. And if you know about that neighborhood, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty fancy. Now, Hallie wanted to ensure that her organization, that her business was not only inclusive, but that it was fair. All was going well, and Brandon was doing great, and Hallie recognized all the potential that Brandon had. And then, March 11th, 2020 happened. We all know that day. The day the city shut down because of the pandemic. As restaurants were forced to close, Hallie had to make the unthinkable decision to not only close her business, but to lay off her staff. This would allow her business to stay afloat, but this would also allow her staff to receive unemployment benefits. Now, though this was helpful and wonderful for most, this was not great for Brandon. Because, remember, Brandon was in a work release program. And as soon as his parole officer knew that he was no longer working, he was required to go back to jail. So, Hallie worked with the Drive Change team to come up with a plan. She came up with a model that would not only allow her business to stay open, but allow Brandon to have work, an ice cream delivery service model. This was wonderful. Fast forward 2.5 years later, Brandon is fully home. He is the number 2 at Cafe Pana. He has 3 direct reports and 12 staff members. Now, the road to where they are right now has not been easy. A lot has been learned along the way, but Brandon and Hallie have a lot to celebrate. Brandon is fully home, and they survived the pandemic. That's huge. It was the investment that they put into each other and into Cafe Pana that has allowed it to grow to what it is today. Brandon recently said he can't even walk down the street with his Cafe Pana shirt on without someone stopping and talking to him. It was in that moment that I realized that Brandon and Hallie were changing lives, one sweet tooth and coffee at a time. It's beautiful to witness. I'd like for you all to just close your eyes, if you feel comfortable. Think about where you are right now. How did you get here? Who are the individuals that have dedicated their life's work to ensure that you have the necessary skills needed to be the change agents that we need to see in the world? Yes, that person, those people. Now, I could imagine you are all fabulous in your own right, but you didn't get there alone. Open your eyes. As the African proverb states, it takes a village to raise a child. Our fellows and countless others, they deserve a village. They deserve to be invested in. They deserve to know that they are more than just their zip code, more than just their communities, and more than just the families that they were born into. At Drive Change, we step in to fill that gap. We step in to be that village. Why don't you join me and step in to fill that gap as well? I am somebody, and I won't be stopped by nobody. I got my fist in the air, in the movement of my feet. I got love for my people, but it starts with me. And I am somebody, and I won't be stopped by nobody. I got my fist in the air, in the movement of my feet. I got love for my people, but it starts with me. Thank you.